Welcome to Healing Wisdom, a Thursday morning talk show featuring guests sharing their stories and knowledge. We discuss the healing aspects of the arts, metaphysics, social justice, and adventure through all types of terrain. So join me, Pandora Peoples, here on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming worldwide at WOMR.org. Our theme music is provided by Mason. You can find her website at masonmusic.com. That's MAESYN. Hello out there. I am so happy to be here with you on my Healing Wisdom with Hiroya Tsukamoto. He is a guitarist, composer, storyteller, and he specializes in fingerpicking guitar. And we're happy to have him here today. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me, Andrea.
I really enjoy hearing your stories about how you compose, and you have an interesting way of like looping music and doing vocalizations over vocalizations and vocalizing with yourself live, which gives it kind of an immediacy. And you're coming to the Wellfleet Preservation Hall July 7th. So folks can go to Wellfleet Preservation Hall's website to see you perform. Can you talk about how you began? Can you talk about growing up outside of Kyoto and what it was like musically for you? Like, what were your early impressions?
My parents were playing music as a hobby. So I grew up with lots of American 60s music. And one day when I was in middle school, my dad found a used banjo at the thrift shop. And he brought it back home one day and he said, this is called a banjo, which is an American instrument. And do you want to play it? And I was like, oh, that looks cool, but I want to try it. So yeah, that was my first instrument, my own instrument. But I grew up in a small town, so there was no way to find the instructors. So I try to imitate from the record, but it was very challenging because the bluegrass is very fast. And my friends were playing guitars, so I started playing acoustic guitar at the same time.
Cool. So when you say 60s music, you're talking like just folk, or were you listening to rock and folk? Like, was it?
In my family, in our house, the music they were listening to was the Carpenters, and, Simon Garfunkel's, those good stuff,
So you received a scholarship from Berklee College of Music, and you came to the U.S. from Japan at that time, right?
Yes.
You fused this folk with jazz and world music styles. What was your next big adventure after high school? What did you discover when you came here? Did you feel like maybe coming to the place of some of the musicians that you were listening to was kind of inspiring?
Yes, I think it's a combination of different things. One is inspiring, and I thought I was kind of good enough after high school, but when I came to Boston, seeing all the musicians from different places, I was like, wow, they can really play so well, and so I struggled at the same time, but I made good friends through Berklee in Boston. So I think two things were going at the same time.
How did you first start composing your own music, and when did you add lyrics to it?
In high school, I started writing songs, pretty much simple songs with just the chords and the lyrics in Japanese.
I know there's some songs that I heard that you have, I think your lyrics were like poetry. It sounded like there was a fusion of all kinds of different styles. Like one of the songs that I liked the most was about a mountain, and you...
Habamak.
Yeah. And I felt like there's almost like a Celtic kind of sound to it. Is that?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Do you want to share the story?
Sure. So there are two mountains near New Haven, Connecticut, a little north from New Haven, in Hamden, called the Sleeping Giant. And in native language, they call it Habamak. That's a people's name. And there's a university next to a Sleeping Giant, Quinnipiac University. And one of the professors there, whose name is Luis, originally from Argentina, he comes to my show pretty often whenever I play around New Haven. and we became friends. And before pandemic, I was playing shows in New Hampshire and Vermont, I remember. And he called me up one day and he said, why don't you stop by here? So I stopped at Hamden, where he lives, and me and Luis did a trail walking through a sleeping giant. And it was a very inspiring experience for me. And later on, he asked me to compose a piece about sleeping giant. And he, at the same time, he sent me several books about sleeping giant and try to study about this place before composing. And so I try to read those books he sent me. And after that, I composed this piece. And after composing, I played this piece. The Quinnipiac University invited me to play this piece there. So I played this piece for the first time at the university about a couple of years ago.
Well, it's really beautiful. And it feels to me like very atmospheric and kind of haunting. I can see how your music could be used in a lot of different things, like as a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
have you thought about that?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to do it. But at the same time, a lot of yoga teachers use my music too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
For the
awesome.
meditation.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your looping. It's really fun. So when did you start doing that?
About 15 years ago or so. I use it only for my practice. I record the track and I just try to practice the lead guitar or something. But I started using for my live shows about 10 years ago when I started playing the solo shows to make my solo show a little more interesting. And I like making the dynamics from the quiet to loud. And I want to make the entire show almost like a one big picture, going like up and down. So the looping with the layers with the voice and the guitar would help to make a little more dynamics.
Yeah, I feel like it really does create this like tapestry or a multi-dimensional tapestry of sound. It really adds a lot to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, you will be at the Wellfleet Preservation Hall. That's July 7th.
Yes.
And so folks can get tickets now. Yeah, so you do this like storytelling. So you're going to do a little storytelling between songs.
Yeah. I learned this like style from American folk singers. Before that, I was playing lots of jazz music. Jazz musicians they don't usually do that. They just focus on music. But when I saw these folk singers at the folk festival, I was like, wow, and he can really like attract audience like in his world with the stories too. And I was like, oh, I want to try it.
Very cool. So I am going to be playing on From Coast to Coast.
Thank
and I would love for you to tell us a little bit about that. So from Coast to Coast, this was a song that was like one of your first. What was?
I was playing with the ensemble or group for a long time,
Mhm.
but I started playing as a solo about 12 years ago. And this is one of the first pieces I composed for just a solo guitar. And I still play this piece. And it is interesting because I wrote many songs, and some songs I played it just a couple of times at the shows. And this song has a durability, and I just, I don't mind playing this piece like always, so this is one of the songs I always play.
So what is your songwriting process like? Do you get lyrics first? Do you hear the melody? And are there environments that inspire you, or sort of spaces that you get into from like a more mental place?
It varies, but before pandemic, I was traveling all the time, and I wrote most of the songs when I was on the road. And I thought, the music comes easily when I'm in different places, seeing different sceneries or meeting new people. And maybe that is true. But in the pandemic time, I had to stay home whole time. And I thought, I had no inspiration. But, I try to write songs just thinking about music. And I was able to write songs. So it's still a mystery,
Is there anything else that you would like to share about what you've been up to lately?
Yeah, the shows are gradually picking up. So I enjoy going to different places to perform, sharing, what I do. Yeah, so I hope to be back to Wellfleet for the first time. And this show was originally scheduled like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it got canceled, of course. And finally, they rescheduled this date in July 7th. So I look forward to it.
Cool. Well, July is a perfect time to be here. Lots of people and lots of beauty.
Busy time for the Cape Cod.
So beautiful here. So everybody can come out to Wellfleet Preservation Hall July 7th to see Hiroya Tsukamoto. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Pandora.
You've been listening to Healing Wisdom at Outermost Radio. All of our shows are podcasts at WOMR.org. Also check out healingwisdomradioshow.com and contact me at pandora@WOMR.org.
Yeah. Cool.